were stopping by SoCal, and they monster mashed the Cheaters against the Dodgers this weekend. There was a lot of joy, a lot of euphoria among the fan base there, those that support the vermin of baseball, the deplorable cheating scumbags of Major League Baseball. So I don't know if you watched any of it. You probably didn't because you were out doing things, or you sit and watch a stupid game on television because, there's stuff going on. Holiday weekend, spend time with friends and family and all that. Well, it started out with an 18-1 annihilation. It was to the point where Oral Hershiser, Dodger broadcaster, said, well, maybe these guys are cheating again. And it certainly looked that way. And it'd be hard to argue they weren't. It would be hard to argue and have any other point than why would they not do it again? They did it before. They got away with it. So that was on Friday. It continued through Sunday, the old sweep. So let us discuss the question. And here it is for the esteemed panel. Do you have a message for the Houston fans who seem to be orgasmic over beating up the Dodgers over the weekend? So my thoughts on this, I've got Big Tobacco, Pepe Le Pew, and Cream Puff. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to have a smorgasbord is what we're going to have. So, do I have a message? Of course we have message. We have a big message for the Houston fans, and we've been on there for years on the radio dial there in Houston. In fact, we happen to be on the Astros station, which is quite amusing, but absolutely. So for Mr. Irrigation and Ocho Texto and Alex the Cynical and Ivan the Terrible and all these other characters who either used to live in Houston or live there now or Houston adjacent and all that stuff, all you other blokes, you know who you are, okay? We don't give a rat's ass that the Houston Astros just swept the Dodgers. They can go sweep the Padres. They can sweep the Tigers. They can go sweep the 27 freaking Yankees for all I care. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. They can reincarnate Babe Ruth, and they can strike Babe Ruth out every time. It doesn't matter because it's turd polishing is what it is, right? And you're not supposed to be able to polish a turd, and the Astros are turds is what they are. And you can try all you want to rewrite history, right? Try to rewrite history because you won a few games in July of 2025. Whee! Congratulations. Woo! Oh, man, we won some games in July of 2025. Who cares, right? Seriously, right? This weekend, it changes nothing. I know that's tough for you to handle. I know you're like, oh, this guy's just a gas bag. Yeah. I speak the gospel, okay? I speak the gospel. I'll tell you why. Here's why. Because in 2017, no, I have not forgotten. In 2017, and let me say this slowly, for those of you in the back of the room that are hungover from your holiday weekend here, all right, the Houston Astros cheated. Capital C. Capital C, cheated. They didn't bend the rules. It wasn't just a little bend of the rules. No. They didn't find some competitive edge. Some of you a-holes like to say that, oh, it was just a competitive edge, Ben. Why are you such a schmuck? No. They cheated. Cheated. Full stop. That's it. C-H-E-A-T-E-D. Cheated. They cheated. They banged on trash cans. Bang, bang. In the freaking World Series, they did it. It was in the World Series video. Major League Baseball is so stupid. They put this in the Major League Baseball produced World Series video, the table that they used to send the signs in to the batters. Okay? They cheated. And it was in the World Series video from 2017. They were banging on trash cans like a toddler on a candy high, right? A sugar rush and all that. They used all kinds of illicit methods to steal signs that year, like a kleptomaniac walking through the Astros souvenir shop and just, I'll take a hat, I'll throw that down my shorts, I'll take a shirt, I'll shove that up my keister, whatever I have to do. And they did it all of it to get a worthless hunk of metal. It's quoting the commissioner of Major League Baseball. It's just a worthless hunk of metal. And when you think about it, there's a lot of parts to this, obviously. The reason that I have not forgotten and will never forget is, for the most part, they got away with it. Major League Baseball endorsed it. They endorsed cheating, which is odd because I see them punishing random baseball players for being involved in gambling. Some no-name pitcher for the Cleveland Guardians is currently on timeout because he could have been involved in gambling. But a team cheating in the World Series, we're good. We're good. We're fine. And the reason that happened is because baseball has a leadership vacuum. They have a spineless, toothless commissioner who is still the commissioner of Major League Baseball. No vacated title for a team that cheated in the World Series. No postseason ban. No player got suspended who took part in illicit activity. In fact, the only few people that got punished, they're all back. They're all back in baseball, right? All of them. The manager of the Detroit Tigers right now was the manager when the A-holes were cheating there in Houston. He's now managing the Tigers. So now we can't even enjoy what they're doing in Detroit because it's sullied because of the manager. And I can go down the list, right? And it was not even a slap on the wrist. It doesn't even count as a slap. You hit the wrist, it hurts a little bit. That wasn't even that. Rob Manfred, the toothless, gutless commissioner of Major League Baseball. What an embarrassment. 8 years out, nothing. In fact, baseball ran interference for the schmucks. They ran interference. They ran a PR campaign. A PR campaign. Now, when I was a little kid, my dad tried to get me, don't smoke cigarettes. When I was a kid, everyone was smoking cigarettes. My dad was like, don't smoke cigarettes. Don't. Big tobacco, right? What Major League Baseball did to cover for the Astros cheating is next level. It's like big tobacco saying, no, cigarettes aren't bad for you. They're good. Go for it. Smoke your lungs out. They ran interference for the scoundrels. And so because of a random series, July 4th weekend, where the A-holes beat the Dodgers, the good guys, 3 games in a row, like somehow that changes something? No. It just reinforces what we already knew. Truth, justice, and the American way, fighting the A-holes from Houston. And how are things looking, by the way? How are things looking for the face, the duplicitous face? It's a small face. It's a little face of the Astros. That would be Jose Altuve, better known by his forever nickname, Altuve. Hey, up, pat him down, check him for the buzzer. Yeah. So he is forever branded, no matter what he does. And he only got a couple years left in baseball, but Altuve has been branded as the guy who wouldn't let his jersey get ripped off after a walk-off homer in the American League Championship Series in 2017, a year that he won the most bogus MVP award of all time. The little fella, he said at the time, I'm shy. My wife doesn't like that. Yeah. And if you believe that, you are the most gullible man in the world. No, he didn't have the jersey. He wanted the jersey ripped off because he had a buzzer. Hey, check him for the buzzer. Right now, we've heard better excuses. Now, we heard a lot of excuses over the years. We have heard better excuses from the guy that gets caught, goes home from the night out with the fellows at the bar and has lipstick all over his collar. There's better excuses from that guy than the Astros with Altuve and the buzzer, right? And you can win all the games. You win every game. It doesn't matter, right? You can trot out your shiny roster of players there and all this analytics department, and brag about that, and flex and all that, and your smug little smirks, you a-holes. It changes nothing, right? Because Jose Altuve is the Pepe Le Pew of baseball. P.U. What stinks? Altuve. That's who stinks. He'll never outrun it. It doesn't matter what the man does. The real ones know the truth. The real ones know the truth. You can't outrun that stench. You can't do it. Can't do it. You're not fast enough. And when people say Houston Astros, they don't think of greatness. They don't think of a sustained dynasty. They think another D word, disgrace, because that is what that franchise is. So go ahead, Astro fanboys. Celebrate. Go gaga. Go crazy. Knock yourself out. And I understand, you beat a real team, the Dodgers. Congratulations. Probably cheated while you were doing it because that's what you do. Why would you stop? You got away with it. Baseball endorsed it. They ran a big tobacco-type campaign to cover for you. So why would you not keep doing it? Right? Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. No matter how many wins, if you go back to the World Series again, doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. You are forever known as a team that needed a trash can to beat the Dodgers in the World Series. And, oh, by the way, didn't even outscore the Dodgers and needed to go to 7 games to win the World Series while cheating. Think about how much better the 2017 Dodger team was when the Houston team was. They were cheating. They knew what was coming on most of the pitches, and the Dodgers took them to a Game 7. How embarrassing. Would have been a sweep without that. Would have been a sweep. It's got to suck, too, if you're an Altuve fan. Altuve is not going to the Hall of Fame. He's not. He's not. They won't put in Barry Bonds. They won't put in Roger Clemens. Those guys, I'd put them in instead of Altuve. Maybe when he's dead, like Pete Rose, they'll put him in the Hall of Fame. All right, now, last word. So turning the page from that, we had a shakeup in the managerial ranks and the front office of Major League Baseball. The guillotine, the hammer of death came down, well, baseball death, in D.C. What is your knee-jerk reaction? Your knee-jerk reaction to the Nationals saying bye-bye and firing Davey Martinez, the manager, and the GM, Mike Rizzo, who were really heroes to us. You might remember they beat the cheating a-holes in a World Series years ago. Been many years since then. So my reaction is, what took so long? Right, as far as the Nationals are concerned, like the Nats have been a hot mess. Now, we don't talk about the Nationals. Why would we? We want people to actually listen. But the Nationals have been a hot mess, plain and simple. They're so bad. How bad are they? Even Ostrich Ant, who lives in D.C. and drives a bus around the D.C. area, he got a good job, right, union job. He won't even watch the Nationals. That's how much they suck, right? And you think about the Nationals. Both these guys, Rizzo and Martinez, the GM and the manager, are past their expiration date. And that World Series they won, while it was glorious and we enjoyed it, it was 6 years ago. And the Nationals have been stumbling and bumbling in the desert of mediocrity without any water ever since then. How bad has it been? Since the high water mark, the 2019 World Series, the miraculous World Series run, the team from the greater D.C. area there has posted, I believe, 5 straight losing seasons, and they are all but guaranteed to have number 6 here in 2025. And the Nationals ballpark is not the factory of sadness. It's the museum of misery is what it is there, watching the Nationals, who have lost that too. They don't have that natitude anymore. I don't know where it went. Davey Martinez, his comments, that's the big story here. He made some comments. We talked about them briefly on the show. Davey Martinez defended his coaching staff with the Nationals. Now, to say that just ruffled some feathers, that's a bit of an understatement. It's a bit of an understatement. He actually apparently torched the clubhouse, the softies in the Washington National Clubhouse. Not only are they bad at baseball, they can't take criticism. Now, again, Davey Martinez said it's never on coaching, he said at the time. Never. It's always on the players, Davey Martinez said, and that is all she wrote. That is all she wrote. Those cream puffs, better known as Nationals players, the cream puffs. I should change the name from Nationals to cream puffs. Looks like they ripped off a drugstore's logo anyway with the W there. So the cream puff players did not appreciate that Davey Martinez put the almighty finger of blame, pointed it right in their direction, and so the players were shocked, dismayed, bewildered, and could not handle it. They were pissed off, and so he lost the clubhouse. Now, GM Mike Rizzo, we famously fought with him years ago over the usage of Steven Strasburg. You might remember the Nationals babied Steven Strasburg so he could turn out to retire early anyway. They were saving him so his career would be cut short. So he's been with the Nationals for almost 20 years in the front office. He was also the general manager over the last almost 12 full seasons. I think it was sometime in 2013. And he survived several managers before Davey Martinez and him took their exit strategy there and won the World Series. So you say a successful one. They did win the World Series. I think it was 3 NL East titles under Mike Rizzo. But right now, when you know your time's up, when you've been there for as long as Rizzo's been there, and your baseball team is closer to the Rockies than it is to a playoff spot. So good luck on that. And player development, well, none of the guys the Nationals draft turned out to be all that great. The players they got from the Padres for Juan Soto, those guys seem to know what they're doing. But they to be fair, they do have a cheap owner. Right? I thought the Nationals were going to be sold a couple years ago, and they haven't been sold. The same ownership group's there. It's been 3 years. I know it takes a long time to sell a multi-billion-dollar sports entity. It's been a while, so they got cheap ownership. But there's no excuse for the crappy product that is on the field there. You know, even you look at Tampa Bay and some of these other teams that don't spend money, they still put a team that's somewhat competitive on the field. The Nationals are on pace to win 68 games, by the way, this year. And they have no pipeline. They need a plunger. The pipeline's clogged there for the Nationals. It's an unstable franchise. We'll see if that Lerner family finally sells the Nationals here. But man, so they just gave the mass extermination to everyone. Now, is that a good job? Well, there's only 30, right? There's only 30 baseball teams or 32 baseball teams, I think it is. So there's not that many baseball teams. So that's it. And they pay pretty well. And D.C., a lot of people like living in D.C. If you like hanging out with slimeball politicians and people like that, it's nice. I guess outside D.C., Virginia, Maryland, some nice places to live.